If you want to make amazing videos with Sora 2, just like this one, or like this one, then you are in the right place, because today I'll be giving you the only tutorial for using Sora 2 that you'll ever need. I'll show you how to use this technology, all the hidden settings that you can enable, the exact prompts that you need to use, and I'll literally just take you through the entire process step by step so you can just follow along and copy what I do. But enough of me talking, let's get started by taking a look at some examples. Okay, look at this, just watch this for a second. Look at how real this person looks. This definitely does not look AI generated whatsoever. And if we take a listen to the audio,
I still remember when I was young.
That is so insane, even down to the details of the gentleman breathing in slightly before he starts speaking, and the audio is exactly in sync with the video. This is what Sora 2 is capable of when you know what you're doing. Let's take a look at another example. That's mad. All right, so here we have a scene from something like a nature documentary and this butterfly landing on the flower. But if we take a look at this fine detail, we can even see like the leaves moving when the butterfly's leg just slightly strokes it, the way that the light is moving through the different leaves in the background. If I turn the sound on again, you can hear the birds chirping in the background, a river flowing. This is absolutely insane. Let's look at the next one, which includes a little bit of dialogue.
What did one ocean say to the other? Nothing. They just waved at each other.
That's so real. So here when I prompted this one, I actually asked it to take the setting of like the Office US TV show as inspiration. You can see the level of detail also in the cuts between the different scenes here, then zooming in on the lady's expression and her rolling her eyes in, let's say, disapproval to the very bad joke that the man gave. What you might notice here on the right-hand side, this video was created with quite an in-depth prompt, and I'll teach you exactly how to write prompts like this, but let's take a look at one more example. Even the noise of the coffee cup there, that's insane. I just love in this scene how the light is coming in naturally through the window. It always stays consistent on the same side of the barista's face here. You might notice as that milk jug slightly knocks the coffee cup, we can actually hear that noise, and also the noise when that coffee cup gets placed on the table. The quality of this is just absolutely nuts. And this is really what Sora 2 is capable of when you know how to use it. But now let's take a look at the flip side and where it can go extremely wrong.
Yeah, just getting here now. I'll call you after, okay? Hi. Can I get an oat latte medium to stay?
Absolutely, that'll be $5.90.
Perfect, thanks.
Here you go.
Thank you so much. Hey, made it.
Took you long enough.
Traffic was a mess.
All right, so there's a lot going on here in this video of this lady entering a coffee shop and meeting a friend. First of all, it starts by the lady actually leaving the coffee shop, then walking through the door backwards. We can see also, if you pay close attention, the audio isn't in sync with her lip movement whatsoever. And then she sits down in a chair that wasn't even there in the first place. And this is the type of videos that a lot of people are referring to as AI slop that we're seeing all over the internet. Let's take a look at one more bad example.
Come on. Come on. Ah, you gotta be kidding me. That's it.
Okay, I went a bit AWOL. So this one actually started off not too bad. The person here sitting at the desk looks pretty real. They get frustrated, throw the laptop, but then as they storm out, all of a sudden the door just falls backwards on them and weirdly lands on top of them, even though that wasn't in the prompt whatsoever.
Nice and syrupy. Bring the tip just under the surface, stretch the milk. There it goes, smooth and glossy, perfect. And a little leaf to finish. Enjoy.
All right, so here, another video of a barista making a coffee, but far worse than the original example that I showed you. Here we can see when it starts off, the coffee being made, it's not even connected to the coffee machine and there's coffee streaming through it. Then when she goes to hold the milk frother, totally mixes the wand. And this is something that we see a lot with these AI videos, that just the physics is a little bit off and the shapes in the scene aren't really interacting well with each other. Why does this massive difference in quality actually exist? Why do some videos look professional and cinematic, while others look like amateur AI slop? That's exactly what I'm about to explain. Because Sora 2 isn't just one simple tool. Understanding what it actually is, the different models, the ways you can access it, the different controls, that's what separates the good results from the bad results. Let me break it down. Sora 2 is actually made up of two different models. There's Sora 2, the standard model. This one's faster, designed for rapid iteration and social media content. And then there's Sora 2 Pro. This one's the high fidelity model for cinematic production quality output. The difference between these two models is massive. Those good examples that I showed, most of them were the Pro model, and those bad examples, they were the standard model used in the completely wrong way. On top of this, there are actually 4 different ways to access Sora 2. There's the mobile app, which is only available on iOS. There's the Sora 2 web version. There's also the API. This is for developers who want to integrate Sora 2 in either their own applications or create videos at scale. And finally, there are third-party tools like OpenAI, Synthesia, and InVideo, which have integrated the Sora 2 API with their own interfaces. Now, here's what's critical to understand. These features are not consistent across these 4 platforms. For example, the Cameo feature, which lets you put your own face in videos, this can only be set up in the mobile app. But if you're using the API or third parties, you have a lot more controls and you don't have the Sora 2 watermark. So let me break down exactly when and how you should be using these different methods, starting with the Sora apps. The official Sora apps, both the web version and the mobile app, are probably the best way to get started with Sora 2. They're very beginner friendly. They have the core features, so they're perfect for learning and creating personal content. To access the web version, you just want to go to sora.chatgpt.com. Now, a couple of things to point out first of all is that both the web and mobile versions are only available in a very small number of countries. So unless you're living in the USA, Canada, or a handful of others, you will not actually be able to access this. But don't worry, later in the video, I'll show you a workaround so you can also start playing around with these models. And one other restriction for accessing these Sora web and mobile apps is you will need to be invited by someone who already has access. So for instance, here in my account, I can click here on invite friends. I have a specific code and only a handful of invites that I can send out. But let's say you manage to get an invite code, you live in one of those handful of countries that have access, you land here in sora.chatgpt.com, and the interface is very simple. Here at the bottom, you can simply prompt whatever video you would like to create. We have some additional settings here where we can choose between portrait or landscape, and as well, we can choose a duration, so either 10 seconds or 15 seconds. If you do have the ChatGPT Pro license, which costs $200 a month, you also have the option of creating 25-second long videos. But one thing you may notice here is in this version that I'm currently using, there is nowhere where I can actually pick which model I'm using. That is something that is also only available if you are on the ChatGPT Pro model, paying a lot of money per month, which I am not. So we are just limited here to basically Sora picking what model we use. And it seems like in most cases, they are using the standard model. All right, before we go and send off our first prompt, we need to talk about prompting. Because the same Sora 2 model can produce either Hollywood quality footage or complete garbage, and the only difference is how you talk to it. And there's actually a strategic choice you need to make with every prompt, and that's how much detail should you include. OpenAI's official prompting guide, which I've linked in the description, makes an important point about this. Shorter and simple prompts give the model creative freedom, and you'll get surprising and unexpected results, while longer, more detailed prompts gives you control and consistency, and the model will try to follow your guidance precisely. Now, both approaches are valid. It just depends on your goal. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. So I'm going to start with a very simple prompt here: person turning to camera at sunset with natural emotion. That's only 9 words. Super simple. Sora 2 will basically interpret this however it wants. It'll choose the style, the lighting, the camera angle, the setting, even the person's appearance. All of this will be up to AI. So let's generate this and take a look.
It's simple out here. Just the wind, the water, and the way it makes you remember who you are.
And this is a perfect example of sometimes simple is all you need. And the model is actually going to produce some surprisingly beautiful results. Here, I didn't mention anything, as I said, about the person. The AI model decided to add a nice scene next to some water. Also, like the audio is like bang on exactly what we want in such a setting. But sometimes simple can also go horribly wrong. If you remember that terrible video from earlier of this lady walking into a coffee shop backwards, that was also done from a pretty simple prompt. If we take a look here, even though this is quite a short, simple prompt, only around 20 to 25 words, what's gone wrong here is we've actually overloaded the model with too many different things. We can see here someone walking into a coffee shop while talking on their phone, waving to a friend, ordering a drink, and sitting down. So we've given the AI 5 different things that it needs to include in this video without giving it the necessary detail of how it should do that. And you can see here the model just gets completely overwhelmed. And for something like this, we would need to use a much more detailed prompt. So when it comes to writing detailed prompts for Sora 2, there are 5 things that you need to include. Number 1 is style and format. This sets the overall aesthetic of the video. Number 2 is cinematography and lighting. So this is the camera framing, movement, and the color palette. Number 3 is subject and setting. Who or what is in the video and where are they? Number 4, action and performance. So what is actually happening in the scene? And finally, number 5, audio and dialogue. And this includes the sound design and speech. Now, if you want to see just how in detail these prompts can get, let's take a look at this example from the Sora 2 prompting guide that I mentioned earlier. We can see those 5 key points. First of all, we have the style and the format. So what's the aesthetic of the video? Then we have the cinematography and lighting, including like the color palette and the different camera framing. We have the subject and setting. So who or what is in the video and where are they? Here we have the location, so an urban commuter platform in this example. We have the sound and audio, and finally we have the action and performance. So this is the like shot by shot, what is actually happening in the video. Now, me personally, I know nothing about cinematography. So a lot of things here mean absolutely zero to me. This 180-degree shutter, digital capture emulating 65mm photochemical contrast, 32mm/50mm spherical primes. I have absolutely no idea what's going on here. And so in order for me to recreate these types of prompts, what I've actually done is set up my own custom GBT trained on writing detailed prompts for Sora 2 using that prompting guide and some examples. And now all I need to do is give it a very simple prompt. So here, 10-second video, a person working at their laptop. All of a sudden they get frustrated, toss their laptop off the desk and dramatically storm out the room. And basically my custom GBT Sora 2 prompt generator gives me a fully detailed prompt that I can use using all of that technical jargon that I have no idea what it means. Now, if you're interested in actually testing out this custom GBT and creating your own detailed Sora 2 prompts, in the description below, I'll leave a link to a tutorial where I give you all the prompts and files that you need to set up this custom GBT for yourself. So let's take this one for a spin. I'm going to copy the code here that my Sora 2 prompt generator created. And in Sora, let me paste this one in. And we can see just how detailed it is. I'm going to make sure it is in portrait mode, keep it at 10 seconds. Let's send this one off. So we can see even using the more basic Sora 2 model, this isn't using Sora 2 Pro, we're already getting some pretty decent results. And what's great about a detailed prompt like this, if there's anything you're not happy with, you can just go into that long prompt and fix those individual points. Now, 2 more quick things that I want to mention inside the Sora app before we move on. First of all is this Cameos feature that you see here. So as I mentioned, this is a way that you can create your very own AI avatar, just like I have done here.
Some big news out of Gemini. Tomorrow we can expect a big update in Google AI Studio, making it even easier for non-developers to deploy production-ready apps.
And you can also use cameos of other people inside your videos, just like this one.
I've used the guys over at 9X to train my whole exec team. They make it simple, hands-on, and immediately useful. The number one thing you can do for your company right now is train your team in AI. Everybody's trying to figure this stuff out, and the businesses that get their people up to speed first are the ones that are going to win.
Now, Cameos is something that's only available in the Sora apps, and to set up your Cameo, you will need to use the iOS app on your mobile phone. If you are interested, I actually recently released another video on the 8 most powerful use cases of Sora 2. And in that video, I give you a step-by-step guide of setting up your Cameo. So click here to check that one out. But the final thing I want to point out is that we also have the ability, if we click on this plus button, to attach images to our prompts. So for example, I can attach this image of a sneaker here to my prompt. And if I add the following prompt, create a high quality product video for this sneaker and send it off, let's take a look at the resulting video.
F Blast Plus foam, pure gel in the heel, and an outsole built to bite back, delivering fearless cushioning no matter how rough the trail gets. The all-new Nova Blast Trail, available now.
And we can see it's pretty nuts how it incorporates the all of those features from the sneaker, but a couple of things to point out about using images alongside your prompts in Sora 2. First of all, the way this is really intended is for you to upload an image and then the video basically starts from your image. So the very first frame of your video will be that image, and we can see it here very quickly in that product video that the first frame is this sneaker, but then it realizes it needs to go in a different direction. What this feature is really intended for is for animating images that then turn into a video. If we look at these examples from OpenAI, this is really how it's intended. So you have an image that you are uploading, and then the video basically starts and continues from that starting point rather than using a, let's say, an image inside the video. If you did want to do that, like the example of the product video, what you just need to do is just cut out that first frame when you edit the video later. Now, one more thing to point out about using images as references with your Sora 2 prompt, what is not possible right now is using images that contain people. Here I have actually an AI generated image. So this is not a real person. This was AI generated, and I'm uploading this with the prompt. So rather than this video being generated, see here in our drafts, we get the error message. We currently do not support uploads of images containing photorealistic people. So this is not something that is currently possible. Now, when it comes to pricing of the Sora 2 apps, both desktop and mobile, the great news is that these are completely free to use, which is why I really think it is the best place to start testing out this model, playing around with different prompts. You can see here I've been testing multiple takes of the same scene and really trying to hone these prompting skills, but there are limitations which probably don't make it the best for business use cases. So the way that it works is your Sora 2 account is basically connected to your ChatGPT account, and depending on your ChatGPT plan, you will have different limits in terms of how many videos you can generate with Sora every day. So when you start trying to create many videos, eventually you'll get a message saying, hey, you've hit your daily limit and you can't create any more videos until the next day. On top of that, as we've obviously seen, every Sora video you create in the apps have this Sora 2 watermark, and it is limited to certain regions. So that's why I recommend this is the best place to get started, but probably not the best when you want to start using this for a business use case. So when it comes to using Sora 2 for business purposes, as I mentioned at the start, there's 4 different methods to choose from. We've covered the Sora web and the mobile app. Now for business use cases, we have those last 2 methods that I mentioned at the start, and that's using the Sora 2 API or using third-party tools. Now, when it comes to third-party tools, there are already a load out there. Just do a simple Google search for Sora 2 Video Generator, and you'll see just how many options you have. And the tool that I'm playing around with at the moment is InVideo AI. We can see here at the top that they have both the Sora 2 and also the latest VO 3.1 model. So I'm just going to log into my account. I just want to give a quick shout out to Kunal from the InVideo team, who actually gave me some free credits to play around with for this video. To access the Sora 2 model inside InVideo, we can click down the bottom here on Agents and Models. And now we can see we get the list of all of the latest image and video generation models. And that's what I would say is one of the big advantages of these third-party tools. That, for instance, if you now go and start implementing something with the Sora 2 API, you're sort of committed to that model. Now, when Google releases a new video generation model, you can easily play around and test the different models. So I'm just going to select here Sora 2 Pro. And we can select a project. So I'll just create a new project here, call it Sora 2 Video, and create a project. And now we can start prompting Sora 2 just like we were doing in the Sora 2 web app. However, we get a bunch of different features. So now the fact that I'm using the Sora 2 Pro model, I can easily switch between the Sora 2 standard model that we were using before and the Sora 2 Pro model. And we get some additional settings on the Pro model that we can have higher resolution videos. So we're not just stuck to 720p, but we can also use 1080p. We again can pick between portrait or landscape. So if you remember in the Sora 2 app, the durations that we could pick for our videos was either 10 or 15 seconds. And here it's a lot more granular. So we can choose all the way down to 4 seconds. And this is something that is even recommended in the Sora 2 prompting guide provided by OpenAI. They mentioned that the shorter the video, the better the results you will get. And sometimes it might even be better stitching together, where possible, multiple 4-second videos, then creating one longer video. And of course, here we also have the option to attach an image. All right, so let's take InVideo for a spin here. And what I thought would be great to really highlight the benefit of using a third-party tool like this is we're going to test both the Sora 2 Pro model and the Sora 2 standard model with both a simple and a detailed prompt. So starting with the simple prompt, and here we're just going to try and generate some like stock footage that we might use. So maybe you're working for a company advertising retirement plans. We're just going to add here a prompt: a grandfather and granddaughter are fishing together on a pier, with no dialogue. So here I have my Sora 2 Pro model. This one I want to use for social media. So I'm going to put it in the 9:16. I think this can just be a 4-second clip. And because we're using the Pro model, we're going to make the most of the top resolution. So let me send that one off. First, I'm also going to copy it. Then this one's being generated. So let's also go ahead and change to the Sora 2 model. Again, make it a social story, 4 seconds. Here we don't have any options to change the resolution, so let's send this one off. And now when it comes to the detailed prompt, so here I had a quick conversation with my Sora 2 prompt generator GBT, asking it to create a scene of someone telling a joke in an office that the person doesn't find funny. Here I even asked it based on my prompt, should it be 4, 8, or 12 seconds? It recommends 8 seconds. And then here we have the prompt that we can use. So I'm just going to copy this one and let's paste in the detailed prompt. Here we have it on the Sora 2 model. This one I want to be widescreen. We recommended 8 seconds. So I'll send off the detailed prompt and let's do the same thing for Sora 2 Pro. Here we have widescreen, 8 seconds in 1080p. That looks pretty good. And we can see here what's great with this. We also get the exact percentage of how long is left in generating those videos. This typically takes about 1 minute to 2 minutes, depending on what video length and what model you are choosing. Now, while those videos are generating, let's quickly talk about pricing. And the way that most of these, like let's say third-party tools work is you pay a certain monthly fee and that gives you access to a certain amount of credits. And here in InVideo's case, you can choose from the max plan, which starts at $50 a month. That's if you're on the yearly plan, you do get some additional discounts. This gives you 40 credits, which accounts to $1.30 per credit. And on the generative plan, where it's $100 a month, you're getting 100 credits, which works out to $1 per credit. So to give you an idea, I've just spun up a quick pricing comparison to show you actually the price if you're using the Sora 2 API directly, and then also what that looks like on the different InVideo plans, looking at like the max plan on a monthly, all the way up to the generative plan if you're paying yearly. And what's actually interesting on this generative plan yearly, it is the exact same price as the Sora 2 API. So what a lot of the third-party tools will do is put a little bit of a markup on the API pricing to cover their costs, but quite generously in InVideo's case here, their more like, let's say, higher plan that you can choose from actually gives you the exact same price as the Sora 2 API. Anyway, at the time of this recording, obviously that pricing may change in the future, but it is important to know that there is such a difference between the Sora 2 standard model. If we look at an 8-second video, that will cost you about 80 cents to produce if you're using the API or you have a top plan. If you're using the medium plan on video, it will cost you a little bit more. But then when we go to a high resolution video, 8 seconds, that's $4. So it's not a small amount if you're creating many, many videos at scale. All right, let's go check out our completed videos. All right, so starting with the fishing scene of the grandfather and granddaughter that we want to use as stock footage. Here on the left, we have the standard Sora 2 video, and on the right, we have the Pro video. I would say you can see like the colors are probably slightly better, a bit more vivid on the Pro version, but really what I would say when it comes down to the finer details, it's just a lot more dynamic scene in that Pro version. And if we look here on the standard version, just the way the grandfather's hand is sort of wrapped around the granddaughter doesn't look quite so natural. And these are the little quirks I guess you will find in the different models. But for me, what it just points out is why it's so important to test which model is right for your specific use case. Now let's take a look at the videos generated for that more detailed prompt of our office joke scene, starting with the standard model.
What did one ocean say to the other? Nothing. They just waved at each other.
Now, if we take a look at that same prompt using Sora 2 Pro.
What did one ocean say to the other? Nothing. They just waved at each other.
And so for me there probably wasn't so much of a difference between the two videos. You can see we're getting pretty decent results in both models. What I might just say is in the Pro version, there's a lot more background noise that makes it feel more like an office scene. There's actually people in the background typing. There's some background chatter, which you just don't have in the Sora 2 standard version. Now, when you're happy with any of the videos that you have created, you can simply hit download and download them, and you can see it's completely watermark free. Now, if you've made it this far, you're probably a bit of a power user when it comes to AI tools. And if you haven't tried the new ChatGPT agent mode yet, you may be missing out on a ton of opportunities. So click here to check out the next one and go further down the rabbit hole, learn some amazing use cases and get even better at using AI, no matter if it's for work, for your own business, or just for fun. I'll see you in the next one.